I am going to describe this like a system review, camera by camera, timestamp by timestamp. I built this system. I know where every lens is. I know where every blind spot is. I know the gaps. The gaps were my design choice. I regret them now. Case file. My own house. Camera 1 covers the front door. Camera 2 covers the hallway. Camera 3 covers the living room. Camera 4 covers the stairs to the attic. The attic hatch is the only access. There is no camera inside the attic. That was the gap. The footage from last night is 6 hours long. I watched it this morning. The first 4 hours are normal. Me coming home, me making dinner, me sitting on the sofa. Then the gap. 2 hours missing. Not corrupted, not deleted. Missing. The timestamp jumps from 12:47 a.m. to 2:47 a.m. No footage in between. I watched the footage again, frame by frame. The last frame before the gap shows me standing in the hallway, looking at the bathroom mirror. The next frame after the gap shows me sitting on the sofa. Same position, same clothes, same lighting. But something is different. My left hand is on the right armrest. I am left-handed. I never put my left hand on the right armrest. I checked the footage from previous nights. Every night for a year. My left hand is always on the left armrest. Always. I told myself it was a glitch. The camera's motion sensor is oversensitive. It flags dust, insects, changes in light. Known flaw with this model. Denial_1. I ran a diagnostic. The camera was working perfectly. No errors, no glitches. The footage was accurate. I checked the other cameras. Camera 2 covers the hallway. The footage from camera 2 shows me walking to the bathroom at 12:47 a.m. Then nothing. Then me walking back at 2:47 a.m. 2 hours missing. Camera 3 covers the living room. The footage shows me on the sofa at 12:47 a.m. Then nothing. Then me on the sofa at 2:47 a.m. Same position, same clothes, same lighting. But the coffee mug on the end table moved. From the right side to the left side. I do not drink coffee after 8 p.m. I did not make coffee last night. The mug was not there when I went to bed. It was there in the footage. I told myself it was a firmware update cycle. The door lock can re-engage and release during updates. The cameras can glitch during updates. Denial_2. I checked the update log. No updates last night. No updates in the last week. I went to the bathroom. I looked at the mirror. It had been moved. Not much, a few degrees, enough to reflect a different corner of the room. I could see the attic hatch in the reflection. The attic hatch is behind me. I cannot see it from where I am standing, but I could see it in the mirror. I turned around. The attic hatch was closed. The pull cord was swinging. Slightly. Like someone had just let go of it. I looked back at the mirror. The reflection was wrong. The attic hatch was open in the reflection. I could see darkness above the ceiling. And something else. A shape. Moving. Coming down the ladder. I turned around again. The hatch was closed. The cord was still. No shape. No movement. I looked at the mirror. The hatch was open. The shape was closer. It had a face. My face. I stepped back. The mirror did not change. The reflection showed me stepping back. But my reflection was not afraid. My reflection was smiling. I was not smiling. I left the bathroom. I closed the door. I locked it. I walked to the kitchen. I opened my laptop. I pulled up the live feed from camera 4. The camera covers the stairs to the attic. The live feed showed the stairs. Empty. Normal. I looked at the timestamp. 3 a.m. The live feed was not live. It was a loop. The same 10 seconds of footage playing over and over. I checked the other cameras. All of them were looping. The same 10 seconds. The house was empty in the footage, but I was standing in the kitchen. The cameras were showing me an empty house. Someone had fed them a loop. I tried to leave. I walked to the front door. I opened it. The hallway was dark. The light at the end was off. I stepped outside. The door closed behind me. The lock clicked. I tried to open it. It would not open. I was locked out of my own house. I looked through the window. The living room was empty. My laptop was on the kitchen table. The screen was still on. The live feed was still looping. I walked around the house. Every window was dark. Every door was locked. I went back to the front door. It was open. The light in the hallway was on. I walked in. The house was normal. The cameras were working. The live feed showed me walking in. I checked the footage from the last few minutes. The footage showed me standing outside, trying the doors, walking around the house, then walking back in. But the timestamp was wrong. The footage said I was outside for 5 minutes. I was outside for 20. I checked my watch. I went to the bathroom. The mirror was still moved. The attic hatch was still visible in the reflection. I looked at the reflection. The hatch was closed. The shape was gone. My reflection was normal. Afraid, not smiling. I looked away. I looked at the sink. I turned on the water. I washed my face. I looked back at the mirror. My reflection was not there. The mirror showed the bathroom. Empty. The sink was running. The water was splashing. But I was not in the reflection. I reached out. I touched the glass. My hand was there, in the mirror. But the rest of me was not. Just a hand, reaching out from nothing. I pulled my hand back. The hand in the mirror stayed, pressed against the glass, fingers spread, waiting. I stepped back. The hand in the mirror pressed harder. The glass cracked. A thin line, from the palm to the edge. I ran to the living room. I checked the camera footage. The footage from the bathroom camera showed me standing at the sink, washing my face, looking at the mirror, then screaming, then running. The footage was normal. The mirror was normal in the footage. No cracks, no hand. I checked the bathroom. The mirror was cracked. A thin line, from the palm to the edge. I covered the mirror with a towel. I taped it to the wall. I did not want to see the reflection anymore. That was 3 hours ago. I am in the living room now. The cameras are still looping. The live feed shows an empty house. But I am here. I am not empty. I heard a sound from the bathroom. The towel falling. The tape peeling. I walked to the bathroom door. It was closed. I had closed it. I had locked it. The door was open. The towel was on the floor. The mirror was uncovered. The crack was wider. A hand-shaped hole in the glass. Not a crack, a hole. Large enough for a hand to reach through. I looked at the hole. The space behind the mirror was dark. Not the wall. Not the space between the glass and the plaster. Something else. A different space. Dark. Warm. I could smell old paper. Dry ink. Like a room that had been sealed for a long time. A hand reached through the hole. My hand. Same scars. Same watch. Same skin. But the fingers were longer. The knuckles were wrong. It reached for me. I stepped back. The hand grabbed the edge of the mirror. It pulled. The glass cracked more. The hole grew. An arm came through. My arm. Same sleeve, same shirt, but the elbow bent the wrong way. I ran to the front door. It was open. I ran outside. The street was empty. The lights were off. The houses were dark. I kept running. I did not look back. I am in a hotel now. I am not going back to that house. I called the police. They went to the house. They found nothing. No cracked mirror, no hand-shaped hole, no footage of me running outside. The cameras were working normally. The footage showed me sleeping in bed all night. I checked the bathroom mirror when I went back with the police. It was whole. No cracks, no holes. My reflection was there. Normal. Afraid. Not smiling. But I noticed something. The reflection was wearing a different watch. Same face, same band, but the time was wrong. My watch said 4 a.m. The reflection's watch said 12:47 a.m. The time the footage stopped. I am not going back to that house. I am not going to look at that mirror again. I am not going to check the attic. I do not want to know what is up there. I do not want to know what came down. But last night, I looked at the window in my hotel room. The glass was dark. I saw my reflection. It was not afraid. It was smiling. It raised a hand, pressed it against the glass. The glass cracked. I think I am the one in the mirror now. I think the other one is outside, walking around, living my life, wearing my face. And no one can tell the difference. I checked my watch this morning. It was still on my wrist. The time was correct, but the band was different. A different buckle, a different stitch. I have owned this watch for 10 years. I know every scratch. I know every mark. This is not my watch. You have been working from home for 8 months. The days have started to blur. You are not sure anymore if Tuesday is different from Wednesday. The morning coffee tastes the same. The light through the window falls on the same spot on the floor. The notifications on your screen are the same emails, the same tasks, the same deadlines. You have not left the apartment in 11 days. The space has become your entire world. You tell yourself, this is fine. This is what everyone is doing. You are lucky to have a job, a home, a window that faces the street. You are lucky to be safe. But last week, you noticed something. You moved the mug, the one on the kitchen counter. You put it in the cabinet. You are sure of this. You remember opening the cabinet door. You remember placing it next to the other mugs. You remember closing the door. The next morning, the mug was on the counter. Same spot, same angle, same coffee stain on the rim. You moved the book, the one on the ends table. You put it on the shelf. You remember doing this. You were tidying up before bed. You remember the weight of the book in your hand. You remember the sound of it sliding onto the shelf. The next morning, the book was on the ends table. Same page, same bookmark, same crease in the spine. You moved the chair, the one by the window. You pulled it toward the desk. You wanted more light for your laptop. You remember the screech of the legs on the floor. You remember the effort it took to push it across the rug. The next morning, the chair was back by the window. Same position, same angle, same dust pattern on the seat. You told yourself you were not paying attention. You get into routines and stop noticing what you do. Denial_1. You started a log. Every night before bed, you wrote down where everything was. In the morning, you checked the log. The mug, the book, the chair. They were always back where they started. You moved 3 things one night. The mug, the book, the chair. And a 4th. The photograph on the shelf. The one of your mother. You turned it face down. You wanted to see if it would stay that way. The next morning, the mug was on the counter. The book was on the end table. The chair was by the window. The photograph was face up. Your mother was smiling at you. You told yourself you were focused on work. You genuinely did not know what state you left the room in. Denial_2. You set up a camera, an old one. You pointed it at the living room. You let it record all night. The footage showed you moving the mug. You remember that. The footage showed you moving the book. You remember that. The footage showed you moving the chair. You remember that. The footage showed you turning the photograph face down. You remember that. Then you went to bed. The footage showed the empty living room. The clock on the wall showed 11:47 p.m. At 2 a.m., the footage glitched. Static. White noise. When the picture returned, the room was different. The mug was on the counter. The book was on the end table. The chair was by the window. The photograph was face up. You did not appear in the footage. No one appeared. The room rearranged itself on its own. You watched the footage again, frame by frame. In the static, between the frames, you saw something. A shape, dark, moving through the room. Not walking, flowing, like smoke, like water, like something that did not have bones. The shape stopped in front of the camera. It looked at the lens. It had no face, but you could feel it looking at you. Through the screen, through the years of footage, through the glass. You closed the laptop. You did not watch the rest. I stopped saying you at some point. I'm not sure when. The shift was gradual. One morning I woke up and the log was in my handwriting. Not second person, first person. I moved the mug. I moved the book. I moved the chair. I do not remember changing the log. I do not remember writing in first person. But the handwriting is mine. The ink is mine. The words are mine. I moved the mug again this morning. I put it in the cabinet. I closed the door. I checked the log. Mug in cabinet. Book on shelf. Chair at desk. Photograph face down. I went to work. I sat at my desk. I answered emails. I attended video calls. I ate lunch. I did the same things I do every day. At 11:47 p.m., I went to bed. I set the camera. I closed my eyes. I woke up at 2 a.m. The room was dark. The camera was off. The battery was dead. I checked my phone. 2 a.m. I checked the window. The street was empty. I checked the door, locked. I sat up. The mug was on the counter. I could see it from the bed. The book was on the end table. The chair was by the window. The photograph was face up. I did not get up. I lay back down. I closed my eyes. I heard a sound. Not from the street, not from the building, from the next room, the living room. A soft creak, then another. The sound of someone settling into the sofa, the exhale of a person making themselves comfortable. I live alone. There is no one in the living room. There is no one in the apartment. There is no one in the building. The other units have been empty for months. I sat up again. The living room was dark. I could not see the sofa from the bed. I could only see the doorway, the darkness beyond. The sound stopped. The room was silent. I lay back down. I closed my eyes. I heard my name. Not spoken. Written. The scratch of a pen on paper. Close. Unhurried. In the room with me. There is no paper in my bedroom. There is no pen. The sound came from the wall. From inside the wall. I got up. I walked to the wall. I put my ear to the plaster. The scratching stopped. Then started again. Closer. On the other side of the wall. in the space between my apartment and the next. There is no space between my apartment and the next. The walls are solid. The building is old. The units share a single wall. There is no gap. I stepped back. The wall was warm. I touched it. The heat was even, like a body had been pressed against it for hours. I went back to bed. I did not sleep. I watched the doorway until the sun came up. The next night, I did not set the camera. I did not move the mug. I did not move the book. I did not move the chair. I did not turn the photograph face down. I left everything where it was. I wanted to see what would happen. I woke up at 2 a.m. The room was dark. The mug was on the counter. The book was on the end table. The chair was by the window. The photograph was face up. The things had moved themselves, even when I did not move them, even when I tried to break the pattern. The pattern does not care what I do. The pattern resets to the same configuration every night. The mug, the book, the chair, the photograph. The same positions, the same angles, the same dust patterns. I am the only thing that changes. I am the only thing that accumulates memories of the previous resets, the log entries, the footage, the fear. The reset does not remember. The reset does not learn. The reset just restores. I have been keeping the log for 3 weeks now. 21 entries. Every morning, the same words. Mug on counter, book on end table, chair by window, photograph face up. Every morning, I write the same thing. Every morning, I read the previous entries. They are all the same. But I know they are not. I know I moved the mug. I know I moved the book. I know I moved the chair. I know I turned the photograph face down. The log. I tried to leave today. I walked to the front door. I opened it. The hallway was flooded, water up to my ankles. The building manager said there was a leak 3 days ago. He said it would be fixed by tomorrow. I cannot leave. The ground level exit has water against it. The door opens outward. I cannot push it open against the water. I am trapped. Not by locks, not by walls, by water. By a leak that started 3 days ago. By a repair that will happen tomorrow. I am standing in the kitchen. The mug is on the counter. I have been standing here for a long time. I do not remember walking to the kitchen. I do not remember deciding to stand here. I can hear someone in the living room, the creak of the sofa, the exhale of a person settling in. I am not in the living room. I am in the kitchen. I have been standing very still. The sound stops. The room is silent. I walk to the living room. The sofa is empty. The cushion is warm. The shape of a body is pressed into the fabric. I sit down. The warmth spreads through my clothes. The cushion molds to my shape. I lean back. I exhale. The room is quiet. The mug is on the counter. The book is on the end table. The chair is by the window. The photograph is face up. I close my eyes. You have been working from home for 8 months. The days have started to blur. You are not sure anymore if Tuesday is different from Wednesday. The morning coffee tastes the same. The light through the window falls on the same spot on the floor. You have not left the apartment in 11 days. The space has become your entire world. You tell yourself, this is fine. This is what everyone is doing. But last week, you noticed something. You moved the mug.